Hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Taking Over. I am, of course, OLED Ed Fries, joined, as always, by the natural Ash Bizarro. Astrid, how are you doing?
I'm ready to go to sleep already. Can we go back to bed?
Me too. All right, everybody. Good night. No. It's not over yet. We're here to talk. This is a promotion we've been wanting to talk about for a little while. We've been seeing some things here and there. We've been seeing some names. We've been seeing some people that have intrigued me. We are here talking about New Texas Pro Wrestling. One of the other reasons why we want to talk about New Texas Pro Wrestling is right next to you. Over here. That way.
Yeah, but the links are, you know, the
links are all up there, but you got the nice big logo right next to you. One of the reasons why I want to talk about New Texas Pro Wrestling, why we've been keeping an eye on their cards to look for something that really appealed to us, is because of the new partnership that they've gotten into. Not only them, Action Wrestling, who we love. We've reviewed 2 of their shows. We adore Action Wrestling down in Tyrone, Georgia. St. Louis Anarchy, which we haven't had the opportunity to review, but we've seen a couple cards that were interesting, and we have some names on there that we want to review out of St. Louis, Illinois. And then, of course, West Coast Pro Wrestling. We've already been to the West Coast. It's the only time we've gone to California. West Coast Pro Wrestling. But it looks like we're going back sometime towards the end of the year. I think we'll be heading back there. So it's fun to start seeing names pop up. Like on this card, we're seeing a one called Manders. I've also believed that Tommy Davis, I believe, was coming over from West Coast Pro on this show. So these are some names that we know. I mean, Charity King is on this show. Emersyn Jayne is on this show. By the way, just to give you guys a hint as to what we think of the card, that was the match that got us to do the show. Just so we're clear. There's some fantastic talent on this card, but the only match we needed to see that we wanted to do this show for was Charity King taking on Emersyn Jayne. Which, by the way, ironically, was supposed to be Maya World taking on Emersyn Jayne. But she had an AEW. But again, like always happens when we want to review shows involving any ASE talent, every time we want to review a match that they're supposed to be a part of, they have to go work a Collision shoot. Fuck Collision. Just honestly, Collision. Collision's a shitty product. We don't need it anymore.
Very off topic before we continue, though. Since I didn't get to say it on screen, happy belated birthday to Bobby because I didn't get to say it on the show. And then happy birthday to Ed because his birthday's coming up and we won't be like last time it happens. Yay! Happy birthday, Ed!
No, we're not talking about that. We're not talking about that.
We're going to bring it up later again.
I was hoping she forgot because I hadn't heard word 1 of it. And I was like, ooh, I might get to sneak past it this week and just avoid going to the show next week.
No. There's a reason why I stay quiet, because I figure you were thinking that, I was 2 steps ahead of you.
Shit. Anyways, so let's go ahead and start at the beginning of this one. New Texas Pro Wrestling. We are in Bayview, Texas, at the Bayview High School. We get a marching band performing to open the show, which was different for a pro wrestling thing. I'm from the Northeast. We don't do this. It's normally too cold for our marching bands come January to be doing anything. So even if it's an indoor event, we're mostly like, just fuck the marching band. They're done for the year. We'll see them again in the spring. I mean, it was fine. Like, it's a marching band. There's not a whole lot to say. Marching band music is marching band music. I did like their incorporation into this match. We'll get into that when we get to it. But Jack Calloway defending the Texas Contenders Series Championship against Lethal Chris Marcell with Big Marc. I will say there's a lot of names on this card that I take issue with. We'll get to the bulk of it later because, oh boy, do I have a rant for later. But Big Marc was neither big nor looking much like a Marc. He looks more like a Johnny B. Bad from WCW. For those that don't know, that's Marc Mero before he came to WWE. It was like a little bit of a Little Richard kind of character. I liked him. I thought his role in the match made sense, but I would not describe him as big by any stretch of the imagination. I like this match, though. I thought Chris Marcell was intriguing and interesting. I liked that he was interacting with his family in the front row at ringside during the match when he was beating down Jack Calloway. I also want to say that I love Jack Calloway's heel work in this match. I thought he was sensational. He was that dastardly, I'm going to escape with my championship however I can kind of heel. I thought he did a really good job at doing that. He wasn't the best heel on the show, but then this show featured a lot of heels doing a lot of generic heel things. And I think that the only thing I can say about this is at least Jack Calloway felt slightly different from every other heel on this show. I liked the match. I thought it was good. There was nothing sensational about the match, but I liked a lot of the things they did. Jack Calloway consistently trying to set up that big move I thought was really impressive, really fun. Chris Marcell is the bigger of the people, including Big Marc on the outside, who stopped Jack Calloway from running away. At the end of the day, it was a good match. It didn't overstay its welcome. I like both these guys. New champion in Chris Marcell. Very excited to see what he's got going forward. But I'm excited to see what both of these guys got going forward because I really enjoyed what I saw from Calloway a little bit more than I enjoyed what I saw from Marcell. Although I like what I saw from Marcell, but Calloway intrigued me with the way he worked this match. So I'm very excited to see what's to come from that. Asher, what do you got?
I like the part with the marching band as part of the entrance too. I thought that was pretty interesting. It's like it reminded me a lot of was it Con that did it for ASE Wrestling? One of them, right?
Yeah, he had well, he had the African ceremony where he had like the drum beats and everything else.
Yeah. So I was like, I like that kind of vibe when you make the entrance something a little bit different from what it usually is. So it's like when you get to have those kind of like big moments, especially for like a title match, and you get to do something like this, why not? Be able to do it and I like that I saw that his social media that he posted about it, thanking the band for being able to do something like this. I think that's pretty cool. Like, imagine you as a kid, if you like wrestling, you get to do a show, even if it's an indie show, to do a show, be like, oh, I was part of the show, the entrance for this person. I think that's something it feels very special and cool because it doesn't happen often. You kind of save it for those like bigger moments. And this was a title match, so why not do it for one of these moments? To be honest, but. Yeah, like you said, there was a lot of like the heels doing their heel stuff in this overall show. This one I enjoyed it, but I felt like there was more, like you said, it started this way and it ended very similarly too. So I was like, by the time the show ended, I feel like I've seen this already at the same time, and that's the only thing that I feel like it throws me away from like the whole card as a whole. But I enjoyed the match. Like you said, the other thing that bothered me too was when they introduced Big Marc, I don't know if it was me and I missed it, but in the name card, I was waiting to see what his name was so I could add it to the description like we usually do for all the names. I try to add as many people as possible that are in the show in itself, including the people accompanying somebody. And his name wasn't under Chris's name, so I was wondering who the heck is this guy? And it's like I'm the first time watching, so I don't know who this is. I have to wait for them to mention it in commentary for me to be like, oh, that's Big Marc, got it. And this one I was able to put it on. So at first, that was the thing that I didn't like the fact that anybody accompanying somebody to the ring, their name was not added to the nameplate at the bottom, and I feel like that would have been a better direction because like I said from the beginning, and I said it multiple times in our shows, like if it's somebody that's watching it for the first time, you want them to get familiar with the people that they're on their screen. So I feel like that would have made a difference for me to begin with. The match overall, I enjoyed it. It was a decent opener for me as well. So yeah, I also like the fact I like when the people do something like this. Calloway at some points he focused a lot on Chris's legs, trying to bring him down. And I like when somebody takes that moment. It's like I can highlight or basically target one of the body parts and make this a little bit easier on myself, if that makes sense. So I like that he was able to do that there too. But yeah, just the end up like you said, the part I didn't like is like a lot of heel stuff to begin the show.
Yeah, there was a lot of heels to begin the show. And other thing we didn't talk about to begin the show that I want to talk about, we'll talk about it here. Dan Miller and Trent Guilbeau, I believe is his name, on commentary. He's also in one of the matches later on. I thought they were really good on commentary. I liked the pair of them together. It was noticeable when Trent went to do his work to prepare for his match. The commentary took a downturn when they brought the ring announcer on to help them with commentary. I do like Dan Miller's form of heel commentary. It's very Corey Graves. It's very Bobby Heenan-esque. You can see the influences he took. He had that very... He wasn't copying either one of them, but he's in that same vein of the two of them. And again, Corey Graves and Bobby Heenan are two very different sides to the same coin. But they have a very unique heel style of commentary that works very well. And I think that Dan Miller has a very unique style that's in the vein of the two of them, and I really enjoyed a lot of it. Making excuses for the heels, being on the heel side, but not necessarily being like, the heels are great and everything they do was delightful. He had a bits of moments here and there. I liked that. I thought it was really good. And it really worked in this match, with the exception of giving us a lot of backstory to some of the other portions of some of the things. They gave us some backstory, but not everything. And, you know, you can't do everything, but they did a relatively good job. I'm very excited to see what else we've got going forward. Speaking of going forward, New Texas Pro then decided to go ahead and let a child wrestle a match. I say a child. He looks like a child. He looks like he's 10 years old. His name is Gavin Ash. Fireball or Bird or bullshit. I don't know what the fuck his name was. I didn't like him. I didn't like him from the moment he walked on my screen. I really didn't like his buddy Will Locke, who looked like a... He looked like a nowadays version of the Road Dogg pretending he was still in DX. Like, he tried to do the crotch chop a whole bunch. He tried to act like he's big and bad. I don't know if he's a wrestler or if he's just a guy who goes around with the cowboy way. I didn't do any research because I honestly didn't care, because all I wanted to see is him getting punched in the face repeatedly, and I didn't get that, so I was sad.
I had to go back to the video. It's Fireball.
Okay, it is Fireball. It was at one point they said we should call him Firebrand, and I go, no. Especially with the news coming out this week, you definitely don't want to do that. Some news resurfaced, and you don't want to be doing the name Firebrand. Let me tell you, I'm from the Northeast. Me and Ashford talked about Firebrand a little bit earlier this week under his other name. We don't want to talk about that. Anyways, he took on Izzy James, who apparently is, and I didn't know the NWA still had territorial championships in existence. Like, I thought these went out with the end of the TNA. When TNA stopped being NWA branding, I thought we stopped all of these territorial NWA championships. Apparently, the NWA Texas Championship still exists, and Izzy James holds it. I like Izzy James. I feel like I've seen and heard Izzy James's name before, but I can't put my finger on where or when.
Yeah, same. The funny part, at first I saw the name. I just read Izzy because I was going by really fast when I saw the card. So I thought, oh, Izzy Moreno's back in Texas because she was in Texas not too long ago. So I was like, oh, this is cool. She's on the card. And then I realized I forgot to read the rest of it. And then it was like Izzy James. I was like, oh. I'm like, I did feel like I've heard that, but I just can't recall from where. I'm going to have to look it up later after the show because I couldn't do it today. But I feel like the name does sound familiar.
I can tell you, at least I know that there's nothing controversial, because I searched the name with both controversy and allegations, because I've learned that very often nowadays when I see indie names, I have to start that I don't recognize where I know them from. The first two things I need to search are both the words controversy and allegations, just in case. We're clear. Izzy James is fine on those, at least according to Google. So, and normally Google's pretty good about giving you, if there's a remote chance of anything going on, Google's pretty good about letting you know. I liked Izzy James. I liked Izzy James. I thought he was great. I dig the vibe. I dig the character. I dig this whole me versus the world versus this cowboy way bullshit. He had a tough job in this one because obviously Gavin Nash is a very young individual. And again, I say he's a kid. He's probably in his early 20s. He's probably a recent graduate. I'll be honest, he wrestles pretty well. But then again, he's in there with what I'm going to assume Izzy James is a veteran of the business. I'm assuming Izzy James knows how to do this. And it felt like Izzy James was wrestling at half speed.
Wait, go back. What age did you get, Gavin?
I would imagine he's 21 or 22 at most.
19.
Okay, so he is 19. He is a child. That's fine.
19. Oh, he's only been wrestling for a year. He's a baby.
Well, I told when I watched the match in our back and forth notes that we take here and there, I did put New Texas Pro that a 10-year-old wrestle because that's what. By the way, here while Ashford talks about these two, I'm going to bring up a picture of him standing next to Manders because this is hysterical.
The only thing I will give him props is I love his theme song because this is a Fall Boy song. My sons know what you did in the dark. It was like a remix, so I'll give him brownie points for the song because I love that song. But yeah, I understand where you're coming from because I did feel like Izzy had a tough job here because kid is new, so you want him to learn and you want to make him look good, but at the same time, it's like you're not gonna lose. So it's like you have your moments that you have to balance that out. Plus, he has his friend on the outside of Will, so you gotta balance it out. The fact that it's basically 2-on-1, even with Gavin being so young. I did like the quickness that Gavin has so far. I like that. The things like when I see him, I know it has to be with the name, but it just gives me vibes of Ash from Pokemon because of the whole fireball thing and the Ash name in it. So all I could picture was Ash from Pokemon. Yes, it's a little bit of my nerdy side's coming out, but I don't know much about Pokemon stuff from that. But that's all I can think about when I saw the name. But yeah, I like the fact, and this is again, like you said, another trend of you see a lot of the heel stuff happening here because there's a lot of distractions from Will and Will trying to help out Gavin somehow, and it happens more than once too, and it happens again in the main event. But I like the fact that Izzy is still very overpowering because he does powerbomb Gavin powerbombs Izzy. But yeah, they had a great back and forth, even like that, and just it feels weird seeing such a young guy going through all this, and he's so tiny too. And just I feel bad at the same time we're going through this, but I was like, there's no way Izzy doesn't win. I did like Izzy's finisher though, so it's like I knew I seen that name before. It's like after this, I'm gonna look him up because I definitely want to see more from him. I did really dig his vibe so far.
I love his vibe. I hate his finish. Now you're talking about the snake bite. It's that weird bouncing rope thingy that he did. Yeah, no, I hate that. Can't fucking stand that. That was awful. I hated that. I liked the springboard moonsault he did was great. A lot of the moves that Izzy did were really cool. And then he did that weird run to the ropes, kind of like catch himself and then bounce himself off. It's a different version essentially of that stupid thing that people like Tyler Bate do, where they put their hands up and they put their neck down and they bounce in between the ropes on their shoulders. But he does it almost like he's doing a 619 and just hangs in the ropes like he's gonna do an Andrade just pose shit. It's this weird conglomeration of 4 different things, and I just hated it from the moment. I'm like, oh no, please tell me this isn't his real finish, because I can't see anybody else other than this literal child. Again, I'm going to put this picture up again. I thought this was a picture of Manders and a fan taking a photo op I take with the wrestlers, and not really this is part of a faction.
You should put I have the part of his entrance. Let me see if I can take a quick screenshot just so you can see how he definitely looks very young, super young.
Yeah, I legit thought he was 10.
Will, though, I would say he reminds me of Josh Briggs.
I mean, he reminds me of Wish.com Josh Briggs, maybe, but
yeah, no, but I guess how tall he is, it just reminds me of him a little bit there. Let me see. I always get it wrong. Is it overlay, right? I think.
If it's a picture, it's in overlay. If it's a video, it's in videos.
Yeah. Okay. Let me see if I can get it. Where did I put it?
Like I said, Izzy gets the win here. I thought it was great. I want to see more of Izzy. I'm excited to see Izzy going around to other places. Obviously, Izzy is heading towards that main event scene with one called Manders. He's got this program with the Cowboy Way. I'm very excited for it. Yeah. This kid is. Oh, I hated this kid from the moment I saw him. And his running buddy fucking Will Lock behind him. I'm gonna put that picture back up. With the shush, with the fucking shush on his hand and the Lock X shirt. No, just done with you, both of you. Just get out of my face. Things didn't get better for Ed liking the talent the way they're perceived when we get Cosmo Orion challenging for the new Texas Pro Lone Star Championship against Timur the Great. Now, I love Cosmo Orion. There are a variety of reasons. I liked his in-ring style. I liked the gear. I liked the fact that he had a scouter from Dragon Ball Z. All of that made my nerd heart very happy. However, we then get to the champion Timur the Great. Now, I have criticized WWE for the presentation of one person in particular. Astrid, do you remember what female wrestler from Texas I always had a problem with WWE's portrayal of with her body type, considering what they thought they had with her and what she didn't have compared to everybody else in her division?
Oh my God, I can't think of anybody right now.
Raquel.
Put me on this one. Oh, yeah.
Remember how they would make Raquel's back feel like she had this like gigantic back
like
with all the muscles? Yeah, like a Rhea back. And then they would like match her up with people who looked better than her. And I go, this is a problem. You can't do this. They put Timur the Great out there like he's this chiseled Adonis, like a Chris Masters doing the masterpiece gimmick. And he doesn't have the body type to do it.
Okay, I'm glad I'm not the only one that thought the same thing. He's like, and he stands up like really like this, like that really like bodybuilder type of pose of like, and it didn't fit him.
Like, I think he's a good looking dude. I think he's got a look. I liked his moveset. I liked everything about him. Like, this is a good looking, like, look at him. He's a good looking man. But he's not got this physique that I would attribute to the character that they've given him or that he's portraying. Yeah. And again, this might be a one night thing, but like it didn't feel like it fit to me. And it took me out of it. However, I will say he's ultra talented. He's fantastic in the ring. I think he's probably on the younger side. He's probably more. And again, I always say this, and it's like we're gonna get to that thing with the lady from whatchamacallit has been doing it for 10 years, and she's 39 years old, and Ed thinks she's a young girl who's
Chanel, your favorite friend, Chanel.
Yes, I did love myself some Chanel. Rachel Chanel. Never forget Rachel Chanel. I liked Timur the Great. I thought he had a really good vibe here. I really enjoyed what he did. I like Cosmo Orion. They had me buying into Cosmo Orion beating him. They really did. This was one of the better wrestling matches on the entire card.
Sorry, what was his age that you put him in?
I put him in the mid to late 20s, 2025, okay, but he's only
24.
I would figure he's only been in the business for maybe 2 or 3 years. Like I think he got into it late. I'm assuming he did something else.
Yeah, he's 24, but I'm trying to see. Oh, main experience 4 years. Trainer Booker T.
That explains a lot. That explains way more than
I'm sorry. K-Trash has been the greatest resources. Like I didn't look it up before, but every time we do a card, and I'm interested in like seeing who the people are, like what the year. It's interesting seeing it from the card too.
You can tell which one of us does research on these talents, which one of us goes, I like these people. I don't have to look them up. I just like these people. Tell me what you thought. But before I get to that, can we talk about the double underhook, like shoulder bomb that Timur does? Is a thing of beauty. Like, it's nothing fantastic. It's not the greatest move I've ever seen. But he's big enough and strong enough and tall enough to make it look really fun and interesting. I really like that finisher that he has. I could do without him doing a spear, and I could do without him doing a power bomb, because, you know, that's just the thing of the thing. Like, we've moved past the super kick being everybody's favorite thing now, and we've moved on to everybody does a spear. His spear isn't that great. Like, but again, like, we're judging it against Roman Reigns and Braun Breaker. Like, those are great spears. Bobby Lashley has a great spear. Edge has an okay spear. Goldberg had a really good spear. He doesn't have it anymore, but he had it at one point. Timur has a good spear. It's fine. No. But, like, his finish is so good, he doesn't need the spear to set it up. Like, I think the power bomb into the double underhook, I think, is really good. And I would just go with that. What did you think of this match?
I like that the moveset fits the character. And why I go by this, like, you see him as the powerhouse type of character, his moveset matches that really, really well. Because he goes with the body slam, he does a power slam and the shoulder tackle. He does so many moves that just fits what you would think when you see him. And, you know, it makes a lot of sense. I did feel bad for Cosmo, though. I like his character, but I feel like he wasn't able to do much in this match when you have somebody like Timur on the other side of it, especially the way they're building him towards, like, that powerhouse type of person. So I felt really bad that I'm like, oh, I want to see Cosmo do something. All of a sudden, he would do one move and Timur would do, like, five. And I'm like, oh, okay, I guess we're not going to see a lot of Cosmo tonight. So I'm going to see it for another, hopefully another match. But I also liked the Cosmo did. It was kind of like a head scissors attempt, but the way that Timur stopped him and transitioned into that sit-down powerbomb was really well done. It was very smoothly. Again, and there was I forgot what Cosmo was doing, but then he was got into the spine buster by him too. So he does a lot of those, like, power moves. He does them really, really well. Actually, the way he sets it up and he delivers it, really well done. Just like you said, it's like the fact about, like, the way they kind of make him look like when he does his little bodybuilder pose is the only thing I doesn't fit with me or the character so far. He needs to do something different when it comes to the posing, in my opinion. But overall, I liked him and I liked his vibe too. I feel bad for Cosmo because I wanted to see more from him.
Yeah, I like I said, I like Timur in general. I just think that there needs to be a little bit of a presentational shift, shall we call it? They need to shift his presentation just a bit, because you have to have a certain Chris Masters in you know, the Steiner. Which Steiner? It's not Rick. It's the other one. I can't think of his name for the life of me, though.
Scott?
Yes, there we go. Steiner Math Man.
I thought you were thinking about Braun.
I blanked. I was thinking Bobby Steiner for some reason. I'm like, it's not it. It's not Bobby. You know, what the fuck's his name? Like, there's a certain physique level you have to do that, like, bodybuilder physique thing. And, like, Timur has a good body, but he doesn't have, yes, Big Papa Pump. Yes. Love me some Big Papa Pump. That's where the B was coming from. But by the way, if you want to get more independent wrestling knowledge and more independent wrestling coverage, definitely check out Grainmaker Wrestling Podcast and For Your Exposure. Blair does fantastic work with both of those things, talking about the independent wrestling scene. And we always want people to get more in the independent wrestling scene. Save independent wrestling by supporting your local independent wrestling scene. Me and Ashford are making, hopefully, a summer trip down to ASE Wrestling. We might do a live review from ASE Wrestling if I can convince them to do it. Speaking of ASE Wrestling, we're going to go back a match because apparently I skipped it in the notes. I don't know how I did that. It was my favorite match of the night. Charity King versus Emersyn Jayne. This match was sensational. Love this to death. Introducing my mother to Charity King was an experience. Mama Fries had never seen any of the ASE Wrestling stuff that we've covered before, and she was watching this show with me. And she was like, she's built different. And I'm like, yes, she is. She is vastly built different. I cannot wait to cover more Charity King stuff. I've fallen in love with this character. I love the vibe. I love the work ethic. I love the rest. I love that she's carrying the ASE Women's Championship everywhere she goes. I love that.
And it was mentioned in commentary too.
Yes, it was mentioned as she is the ASE Women's Champion on commentary. That's fantastic. Like, it's independent wrestling. Like, you can mention all these championships these people hold. Like, you can do that. You can carry these belts around. Um, and then, of course, the continued excursion for Emersyn Jayne, the Brit in the United States. We glowed about her work when we covered JCW in that Luna Vachon Invitational tournament that she was a part of. We talked about how neither one of us had really seen much of her. We'd heard the name, we'd seen some of the matches, we'd seen some of the clips, but we hadn't gotten a real long look at Emersyn Jayne before. This was great to see a one-on-one match with Emersyn Jayne and really get the vibe. This character has a brand new vibe that I'd never seen. Like in that JCW thing, I didn't realize the heel work that Emersyn Jayne is capable of. This crowd was fantastic with her. They weren't fantastic all night with everybody, but they were really good with her in this match because she gave as well as she got from this crowd. And this crowd did not let up at all. And she was into it, and she was buying in, and she got the fans to buy into her and to buy into the match, and they were cheering Charity King. Astrid, you are the women's wrestling expert here on this show. Talk to us about this match. What did you think about the match as a whole?
I love the fact that the way they portray Charity here, because she's already is such a great superstar, but the way they portray her here as a whole, it's just that even bigger for Powerhouse, because even though with Emery doing her stuff, because Emery got a submission here and there, but the way Charity was just taking her, she looked like a rag doll, and Emerson's not a small girl to begin with, so it looked even more impressive than it usually does as well. Just the way she just threw her everywhere, and it was like you could see like Emersyn was just the way she was setting the moves too, just like looking at her, it's like holding onto her body for dear life. It's just like I feel so bad every time she like landed. I was like, oh, but Charity just she did great. She's such a great powerhouse, and she was able to show it off in this match in such a way. I like the fact that at one point Emerson does a submission to her as well. And she first starts on the mat and later she starts with like the knee and she focuses putting her knee onto Charity's back. But even that's not enough too, to keep it going. Um, she also had a big like nice like running knee, but I overall Charity did so much in this match, just even I couldn't keep up with her. She was doing so much to take her down, and she was like, "I'm gonna take you down one way or another," and that was her mission along in this match. I did love her full Nelson slam that she did as well towards the end of the match there too. But again, even after everything, it's like Emerson couldn't do it. Charity was above and beyond the powerhouse that she was.
Yeah, this Charity is such a great powerhouse, and I even made a note of it when I was talking to Mama Fries about this match. Like, watch how she's throwing this poor girl, and like you said, Emerson's not a big girl by any stretch of the imagination. Like Emerson's just a normal person, and she was getting chucked. Or at one point, Charity just grabbed her by like the hips and just threw her, and she landed on her behind. And I'm like there are ways to make a slam look great by somebody jumping. Once you're in the arms of the other person and like you're held in a standard position, there's no jumping that helps. You're just going to get chucked, and you got to hope that the other person's strong enough to throw you. And she did. As much as we talk about how great Charity looked in this match, the power moves from Charity, Emersyn was in this the entire time until the end. Like, yeah, she took a bunch of the brunt of the punishment. She had to be the one selling 90% of the match. But at the end of the day, like, there were times where Emersyn might have had this match, and they were building towards, seemingly, I think they were building towards a potential Emersyn win here, I thought. And then Charity hits the King's Kiss. It's all over. Sayonara, say goodnight. Everybody goes home happy. Loved it. Charity King gets the win. We get to see more. I'm sad we didn't get to see Maya World here. I think that would have been fun. I'm also upset that the other women's match was on the pre-show that I didn't get to see on the YouTube version. I wonder if on the IWTV version, if we have the pre-show on there, because they also had a tag team match that was on that. But I was really looking forward to it. I'm going to try to find it. Seeing more of London Dior, because when we saw when we went to Reality of Wrestling, I got to meet London Dior, and I was like, ooh, there's a whole bunch of fun there. And she was taking on I believe it's pronounced Rachel Ross, right? RHA, Rachel Ross?
So the pre-show one is under the live section, but it's on the YouTube.
Okay. Okay. It
Yeah,
wasn't on the one that
but
we watched.
I thought it was in the same one too. So when it first started and I saw the guys instead of the girls, I was very confused. And that's when I realized that it was separated. The kickoff is under the live section, then it ended
Okay.
there, but the rest of the show's on the video section. So I didn't realize that when we were watching, it's like, oh, so this is separate. And I was like, I was looking forward to that girls match too, thinking it was
Yeah.
on the card, then I realized it wasn't.
Yeah. So now that I know that it's there, I can go back and find it. Because like I said, I've heard a lot of Rachel Ross.
Yeah.
And again, some of that's good, bad, and all in the kind of in between. She had a bit of a time, with reality of wrestling in the 2020s, but that has nothing to do with her talent level or anything like that. So I'm very excited to see from her. There's a lot of names that we're going to be checking off our list in 2026, and a lot of places we want to go and talk about. Not go physically, but different places. I've got some show ideas I need to run by Astrid as we get through here. But we are now time for the 6-shooter challenge match, which was 4 people announced in 2 mystery entrants. And it included JJ Blaq, who I have found out helps run New Texas Pro Wrestling. He's part of the management team with this promotion. Exodus Prime, Diego de la Cruz, or Double DLC. Just Nix, I believe is how they say his name, even though there's an X in there somewhere, and I couldn't figure out how the fuck to type it out. Because
I thought it was the different people, but I think it's just Nick, something like that.
It's weird. They need to stop with all these X's if you don't need it. Danny Orion, who we'll talk about in great detail in a bit. And Tommy Davis, who was on loan from, if I remember correctly, Tommy Davis was on loan from West Coast Pro Wrestling. Astrid, talk to us about the 6-shooter challenge match with a new entrant coming out every 2 minutes until all 6 people have come out. However, the match could end at any point.
Yep. It almost felt like the casino battle royals that they do in AEW. Like they have, let's say, 20 people announced, and it's like every couple minutes somebody will come out, but the match can end at any time. So whoever is left in the locker room it will not enter. So not everybody all the 20 people, the 10 people, whatever number they give you, doesn't mean all 10 would enter. This one, it very similarly, because even though we have the 6 people, it was the same in that way, that if the match could end at any time without even having the 6 competitors in the ring. But I'm glad we got all 6 of them, just because it just gave you that vibe of like, the action's gonna keep going from here. I like how as they come in, and it happened I think with almost everybody, but every time they come in, they make sure to make a name for themselves on the way in. It's like, oh, we're gonna show off who we are a little bit here before we really get into the mix, and I really like that there. This one though, there were so many points. Like I think it was, Exodus is one that really stood out to me in this match. She was doing a lot everywhere. It was hard for me to keep up with all of them. It almost felt like one of those, like almost like a 6-man tag type of thing, because it just felt like a lot of things were happening at the same time, so it was hard to keep up with everybody. So here was another one, and I think if I'm not mistaken, I don't remember if it was this one or the other one. I have to double check. Okay, so I think it was the other one if I remember correctly. But yeah, there was a lot going on in this match. It was hard to just follow everybody here. There was a one point, trying to remember which one. Yeah, so just Nick, he did a flying headbutt. Loved the way he does it too. That was so fun to watch. That was one of them. And from here, aside from him, trying to think everybody that I had. Yeah, Exodus is one of them. And Diego's another one that really stood out to me here. I wanted to see more from him, more towards like the end of the matches. That like he did a backstab with Tommy, and then there was a cutter on the other side, and I was like, "What the heck is going on?" It's like one thing here and another thing here. But one thing for sure is like when the match started, Danny, though, I felt like everybody was hitting Danny, so I didn't think he was gonna win, because I think he took something from everybody at this point by the time the match ended. So I was like, I don't think he's gonna win it. But I was so surprised when he did, and the way he did it came out of nowhere too, with the crucifix kind of bomb for the pin. So I like how it just came out of nowhere for me. Once I wasn't sure it was a 3 count, so when the match ended, it took me a moment to realize it was over. But I think it felt like it came out of nowhere, and I like it in any like that. Like it just gives you the vibe of like, yeah, the match can end at any time, and I felt that way with the ending.
One of the things I wanted to talk about was the dog pile spot where they started like piling everybody up and everybody kept doing like an off the top rope move onto the pile. I thought that was really cool.
Yeah.
And the two people who stood out for me, absolutely no questions asked, Exodus Prime and Danny Orion. Those two were stars in this match. Love the two of them. Can't wait to see more from them. I think Diego has something that I want to see more of. There's a bit of a character in there that I think I could really get into and I could really vibe with. Tommy Davis is just Danny Miles from the West Coast. Like, he's just this kind of short, stumpy white dude with hair on him who just beats people up. Like, every promotion needs one of those, and Tommy Davis fills that need here. I thought it was great. JJ Blake was really entertaining, but I didn't feel like at any point, I didn't really feel like he was going to be the one to get the win. I had a feeling it was going to be Danny for a lot of this match, or Exodus. I thought those were the two. I kept coming back to the two of them. But at the end of the day, you know, like you said, Danny gets the big win with the crucifix bomb. I thought that was really cool. He gets the win. He then grabs the mic and cuts a promo and drops a whole lot of information on me that I really enjoyed. His ex-fiance is Maya World, who wasn't here, who was supposed to be here, but wasn't here because she had commitments with AEW, which was like, oh, okay, that's kind of cool. And he's like congratulating her on everything she did and talking about how, you know, and I liked how he was bringing it into his character, being like, look, I made a lot of mistakes in my life. I ruined my relationships. I ruined my friendships. You know, my ex-fiance is doing better than ever right now, and I couldn't be more proud. And I'm like, oh, that's kind of cool. He's giving it. And he's shouting out old champions and people he wants to be like. And he names, I see a couple of the names you have written down here, and I missed two of them, obviously, because I'm seeing the names and I'm going, I don't remember them. But I do remember he name drops Roxanne Perez, who I did know started in New Texas Pro Wrestling. It's the first time I ever heard of New Texas Pro Wrestling was having Roxanne Perez be one of their former champions. Obviously, we're talking about Texas wrestling, which means there's only one male name that we can possibly talk about at some point. We got to talk about the bounty hunter, Brian Keith, because I guarantee you, he's held every world championship in the state of Texas. At some point or another, I guarantee he's held every world championship in the state of Texas. He is fantastic. I don't remember him saying Ricky Sainz, and I don't remember him talking about Cody Coco Lane. But you have both of those names written down, so I trust you that they're both on there. But I don't, for the life of me, I don't remember that.
Yeah, the one thing I forgot to mention this at the beginning, that I will kind of, in a way, criticize New Texas Pros. Like, there's a lot of audio issues within this. So the moments that, especially after the entrances, like in between entrances, between matches, that I would just forward everything because it just didn't sound great and I couldn't understand a lot of what was happening. So I was like, I might as well just forward until the match really starts. And there was moments that it sounded like they were not even like the recording sounded different in some certain matches. I don't know what it was, but I was like, before I even try to understand what's happening here, let me just forward this to the next match. So there's a lot of parts that I forwarded. That this one, I'm glad that I had a nice sound that I was able to understand his promo, because if it didn't, I feel like that would have ruined the promo for me. So I'm glad at least it worked out here. But I'll say there was certain moments it didn't feel right. I had to just forward.
It almost felt like they took out copyrighted music at times. Like, not all of it, but at times it felt like they were probably pulling out. Like, it just felt like it was like one of those, like, we're removing the audio on YouTube, and then when they like re-uploaded that, they just had Dan Miller go back in the booth and just like record audio over it, because all you can hear is Dan. You can't hear the crowd. You can't hear anything. Like, there were points where like people were cutting promos to a camera, and we get this weird, funky audio where all we're hearing is Dan. And that's why I say potentially it was one of those things where, and again, live professional wrestling is hard to do. Like, getting an audio is always right is hard to do. Even the best promotions have a hard time doing it. I know Chaotix had issues here and there, and every now and then having issues getting their audio and their commentary to go over well. It just sucks. This was our first glimpse into them, and there were, you know, multiple moments where we had audio issues that kind of, the worst part is it ruined entrances and it ruined a storytelling potentials, like where we couldn't understand certain things going into certain things.
Yeah, and that was the thing with the audio.
We got Melball in the chat. Hello, Miss Melball. Thank you for joining us. We greatly appreciate it. And Bobby's here too. It's like they both finally decided to show up. It's about time.
You missed my birthday shout out earlier. Happy birthday to Ed before you put in the chat before he leaves today. I'm double checking the closed captions with the promo. But yeah, I think it was Ricky Saints that he mentioned. I was like,
I mean, I'm sure he worked there.
We see that. I say happy belated birthday to you on screen, even though I say happy birthday to you in the Discord.
No, it's not my birthday. My birthday's not coming up for months and months and months.
His birthday's the 25th, everybody. This is the PSA.
Nothing. She lies.
And you know how you don't forget about it? Because it's part of the username on Twitter.
I mean, that's entirely possible. Anyways, we've got TNA talent, shall we say, Dustin Nguyen, the Wind Dragon himself. We've seen him with the Elegance brand a couple times in the past as they were trying to get Mr. Elegance, who is now named as AJZ. You don't like Mr. Ziggler? I think he's great. I think he's a fantastic Mr. Elegance.
I feel like the role would have gone better to somebody else who had the character down more than this guy did, in my opinion. But I'll send you everything later.
All right. Anyways, we also have Jay Pierce, Marvelous Mack, who I nicknamed Seth Rollins Dark. Not dark. I mean, there was that too, but I was thinking like a Goku Blaq and Goku from like Dragon Ball Z. It was like a dark side of that character, and he seems like he's like his whole outfit was black, but he had like this really Seth Rollins-y type intro, and the whole gear was all Seth Rollins-y, and I'm like, it feels like a darker version of Seth Rollins. Like the funny thing is he's wicked tall, and he's got like the longest like he's huge. I can't wait to see more of Marvelous Mack.
Because this guy 10 out of 10 on the gear department though. That was amazing.
10 out of 10 on everything Marvelous Mack did. Let's just be straight here. Marvelous Mack, my one to watch. And then we had Trent, the professor, Trent Guilbeau from commentary. And I loved his gear. The all-white gear with the Cody-like fucking skull mask. I thought it was great. I loved it. I thought it was fantastic. Oh, and now we get to my rant of the evening. The meat market. Now, we talked about, with Timur the Great, about how the gimmick didn't fit with the person portraying it. When I hear the meat market, I'm expecting a certain visual for the meat market. I'm expecting a stable of wonderful men who look good. I'm expecting a group of men who are chiseled from stone. We got the biggest jabroni group I have ever seen. Eduardo Garcia, Isaac Morales, Ronin Reyes, and Shawn Hendrix. These guys, like, apparently the meat market is looking for marbled meat as opposed to good, lean protein. Because these guys did not fit the bill for the meat market that I was looking for. Yes, the chubby guy went there because it bothered me the entire match. Like, I couldn't get over the fact that they're called the meat market, and it looks like the budget meat that you'd buy somewhere because there's too much fat on the meat. And again, they're not big guys. They're just guys. And again, like Timur, when you go a certain way with something, you've either got to go all in or you don't do it at all. And maybe it's supposed to be a joke. Maybe it's supposed to be a gag. But I didn't get it, and I didn't like it, and I hated these guys. On top of it, I'm going to skip the whole match for this because I'm going to go right to the end. The meat market gets the win. And again, Ashley will talk about the match and how much she enjoyed things that she saw. They're beating up the last guy, Jay Pierce. who had a shot at the Texas Contenders Championship and lost it in this match as one of the provisions for this 8-man tag. The other side of that provision was that Isaac Morales, if he lost this match, I believe it was Isaac, would go back to being a referee. Now, that's fine. I like the idea. That seems like an interesting idea for a match. However, at the end of the match, after they're done beating this guy up and they've, put him in the, in their, like, they put him in like a camel's clutch or something and they like beat him down and they were posing over him.
Mm-hmm.
And a guy stood over him with his chest on the mat and his shoulders up. And he went 1, 2, 3, like he was pretending to be a referee. And I'm like, there's a reason why you're not a referee, because you suck at it, just like you're not great at the professional wrestling thing, because you can't even get the guy on his back to pretend to pin him. You pretended to pin him with his chest down. Like, the fuck are you doing, Dub-Dub? More importantly,
it was a Cameron pin? The Cameron pin? Is that what I call it?
Sure, it can absolutely be the. I know what you're talking about, and probably, yeah. On top of this, the meat market should have wanted to lose because then they'd have a referee in their pocket. Like, this made no fucking sense. Like, if you have an opportunity, like, I get maybe the guy wants to wrestle. That makes sense. But, like, if you have the opportunity to get your own referee, ask the NWO. Good things happen to you when you have your own referee. Because Nick Patrick helped NWO win every single championship by being the official NWO referee. If this guy had lost this match and become the official meat market referee, they could win everything. Like, again, they're not good at the wrestling thing, so they probably would lose anyways. But, like, and again, in character, they're not good at the wrestling thing. Like, they're fine. They're good professional wrestlers. I'm sure they're well trained. I'm sure they're really good at what they do. I've seen them once. I wasn't overly impressed. I was very much impressed by Marvelous Mack, and I was very annoyed by their whole gimmick of being the meat market and then not being what I perceived a meat market to be. So, again, grain of salt. Astrid, tell us about the actual match and not whatever OLED saw during this, because OLED saw red the entire time.
I mean, I'm not gonna say it was okay for me, but I know Mel's gonna remember our conversation about this because she and I were talking how and it happened during this match and it irritated me so much to watch it because we were talking how a lot of I think a lot of girls in NXT have done it a little bit differently than most everybody. But a lot of people, especially in the main roster, whenever somebody goes to do a crossbody outside, everybody is like holding on for dear life to each other. Like you see them like standing like this, waiting for that crossbody so they can put their arms out, and you can see how they're waiting for something, and it makes it so obvious. But I feel like I told her how there's a lot of girls in NXT that have become better because they start hitting up each other, or they take the faces will hold the heels, so they get the move before they get the crossbody, so they move out of the way, which makes sense to me. Or they're beating each other up and waiting for the crossbody, and like they keep watching out, and when a crossbody does happen, then they put the arms out, but then they're literally waiting for it. And that's the conversation we had, that a lot of people just literally wait for it like this. And then I think it was Trent, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, Trent went to do the crossbody, and literally everybody else outside was waiting for it. It irritated me so much to watch it. Yeah, just like.
And like, I get that you want to catch the guy because he's in.
Don't make it obvious, though.
I agree. He's not an old guy, but he's an older gentleman. He's probably done with his in-ring, for the most part, he's done with his in-ring career, but I get it.
Why? I like at first the point of view they gave us. You can see only Trent, which is fine, but at one moment they span out and I see everybody just like this, waiting for the moment to go like this, and I went, oh, man, you ruined it for me by giving me that angle. I didn't like that. I really didn't. I like Trent. He's the one that really stood out to me in this match, and I definitely want to see more of him. The the meat market was the part that I went, okay, that was a thing. I did like the timing though. At one point, I think it's Morales. Yeah, Morales pushes the referee, and the referee lands on the, I think, the top rope, if I remember correctly, and then he pushes Pierce from the top rope to come down. And that sequence like really was well with the timing. But yeah, aside from that, um, it was okay for me. There was nothing that really stood out aside from that. I just irritated me to see everybody just waiting for Trent to come out with the crossbody, like, here, I'm here to carry you. And yeah.
Now, if you didn't have a significant other, would this be a meat market that you would visit?
Hell no. I got
What'd you
standards,
say?
you know.
You have standards. Wow.
I got
Well then,
standards. You know what my partner looks like? I have standards. Come on.
they have to have Seth Rollins type hair. I understand.
Nobody's gonna forget about that now.
All right, we have the main event, and trust me, one of these guys would definitely meet Ashford standards. Let me tell you, we got the one called Manders. That's not the one. And then we have Carter Blaq, who's now out from being Mysterious Blaq, who the persona he was working under a mask. Why you would put this man under a mask beat the hell out of me. Astrid, talk to us about Carter Blaq versus One Called Manders for the new Texas Pro Championship match.
So this is the match that I mentioned earlier that, like you said, by the time the card ended, there was too much heel work happening in one show for me. And this one had too much. Because at first, I like the fact that they start off with the crowd. They do have a lot of back and forth outside, which is fine. But Will, again, putting his nose in this business way too often during this match. And it irritated me because I don't mind it happening towards the end of the match. That's fine. But it happened way too many times during this. And then you have Will assisting, then I don't remember if Will got taken out at that point, but then we have the part with like the referee gets taken out. It's like, okay, we already have Will helping more than once. Okay. So then we have that part with the referee. Then we have at one point that Gavin pulls the referee outside. So he starts helping here to beat up Carter. At that point, another referee comes out. He just super kicks that referee too. So even the second referee got kicked out. I was like, okay, we got not one but two referees. Okay, sure thing. And I think the most interesting part was the ending for me more than anything, because we do get the part that at this point it's a 3-on-1 situation, and we have Izzy James come out, and he tries to help out Carter, and you see him confronting Manders at that point. But when he's there, yeah. So I think he does a big boot to Manders, if I remember correctly. And then after that, then all of a sudden him and Carter just touch backs, and Carter thinks it's Manders, so he does a little, I think it was neck breaker to
Cutter.
him or something like that. Yeah.
It is a cutter.
And he doesn't know it's Izzy. And then he gets up from doing it, and then he realizes Izzy's no. He's like confused and upset that he hurt Izzy instead of Manders. And then Manders is able to take advantage for the win. But again, it was like we had the part that Will assisted, Gavin assisted. We had not one, but two referees, and then we had Izzy on top of it. It's like it just felt like too much happening in one match for me.
And again, we're talking about the One Called Manders. Like, we raved about how much we liked Thomas Shire and One Called Manders when we covered West Coast Pro, because we talked about them on JCW, and we talked about how we didn't get to see a lot of what we really feel like we could get out of them, because it was a bit of a hardcore match and it wasn't our style, so we didn't really fall in love with it. We talked about how that tag team match really brought out the character of Manders and how it really developed him. And then we just go to Manders being generic cowboy heel in this one. Like, he's a fantastic wrestler. The wrestling match portion of this was really good. Carter Blaq and One Called Manders had a fantastic wrestling match. If you remove Will douchebag from the equation, if you remove Gavin, super kicking people and doing the best he can at his 10-year-old, self, Fang got in the ring, you know what I mean? Like, it's disappointing because, like, I think there's money to be made with One Called Manders. I know MLW didn't make any money with it. And Bobby will attest to this, that there was money to be made, and I don't know if they really got their full money worth out of it. But, like, MLW talent that are on the indie scene right now are really doing the work, whether it be an Alexander Hammerstone, whether it be a Richard Holiday, who with Matt Cardona off the market is probably the number one free agent on the independent wrestling scene, next to Bear Bronson. And Bear Bronson might not even be on the free agent market anymore if he's actually signed to TNA or not, if he's just making shots. I think one Called Manders has the skill and the talent to be able to be a Richard Holiday or, a Jacob Fatu or, some of these big name talents are Cruel. The atrocity known as Cruel, the current MLW world champion. And we've got some MLW news coming in a bit, but it is what it is. No, you don't got no coverage for that? All right, anyways.
I'm not saying anything.
Okay.
I was gonna say, with the trunks though, what Manders reminded me so much of Cash Wheeler when he first started. And I was like,
except that he's about 13 times taller and bigger than Cash. Like, Cash is an itty child compared to him.
I know, but just like the trunks reminded me so much, and like the way he is, it just reminded me of Cash so much. It's like I feel like he could fit into FTR right now, and it'll be fine because he just fits so well in there.
No, I mean I think he really could fit in FTR. Like I said, the match itself is fine. At this point, we'd seen enough of the cowboy way, we'd seen enough of the cheating, we've seen enough of the heel work that like it brought that down. This Izzy James, Carter Blaq, Manders triangle with Danny Orion is going to be really interesting because Danny Orion won a number one contendership, essentially. I don't know if it means at the next it's not at the next show because I know he's not taking on Manders at their February show. So I'm not sure when it's going to be, but I'm very excited to see how all this kind of works its way out. Because I wouldn't be opposed to Izzy James versus Carter Blaq for an opportunity at the championship. Or if they do that as a three-way. Like if, say, Danny Orion gets his shot at Manders and then Izzy and Carter are, number one contender for whoever wins that match, I'd be down for something like that. There's a whole lot of fun we had. New Texas Pro Wrestling. We liked your product. I think we really enjoyed what we saw. There's some kinks to work out, and you might need to better pace your show with, a little bit less generic heel work, but overall, I think the talent's really good. I thought the camera work was really good for the most part. There was a couple times where they forgot to switch cameras ahead of time and somebody was walking with the camera all the way down, Papa Smoke style. But it is what it is. It was all right. I enjoyed it. It was fun. I had a fun time watching it. I think we'll be back. Like I said, with their partnership with Action Pro Wrestling, with their partnership with St. Louis Anarchy, with their partnership with West Coast Pro, I guarantee we'll be back at some point because two of those three promotions are promotions we're absolutely going to cover again. West Coast Pro is absolutely someplace we're going to go back to. And I think Action Wrestling is probably something we'll cover again at some point in the near future. So with their partnership here, I think we're going to see a lot of these talents at some point, give or take. Next week's show, we can go ahead and announce this. Limitless Wrestling, the Limitless Rumble from this past weekend is going to be our next show. One, because Ed wants it, and it's Ed's birthday coming up, so we're going to give Ed what he wants, Batista style. But also because this is a show that Astrid would kind of want to see. We've got Desmond Cole taking on Dijak. We know that's going to be a banger. I can tell you it's a banger because I've already watched it. MJF taking on Alec Price for the AEW World Heavyweight Championship, defended on an independent promotion. And big news coming out of that, so we'll talk about that when we talk about that show. Becca getting her opportunity to become WWE ID'd, taking on Lainey Luck for the WWE ID Women's Championship. Interestingly enough, this is the first time in the history that the WWE and an AEW title were both defended on the exact same show. We also had a tag match featuring AEW's Eddie Kingston and Ortiz taking on Starstruck, Anthony Green, and Channing Thomas. So that's going to be a lot of fun. We're very excited to get that. And then, of course, we have the Limitless Rumble. 30-man Rumble for the opportunity to become the number one contender for the heavyweight championship, depending on who won between Dijak and Desmond Cole to open the show. So there's a whole lot of fun to be. Oh, and Hook is there. More AEW stuff. Hook made an appearance. Ed got to watch his first Hook match. Be there to watch that because Ed has thoughts and Ed has opinions. But before we get to Ed's thoughts and opinions, Astrid, tell the good people where they can find you and what you've got coming up in the near future.
I have a lot of wrestling this weekend, so I'm very excited about that. And next week too.
Really?
So,
really? Just a little bit, huh?
More
no,
on
more
that
on that now. More on that now.
No, more on that later. Hope I don't like to say things until they happen, sir. So more on that.
They're already happening. We have the confirmation emails.
More on that later. No, aside from that, you can find me on my Twitter and Blue Skies Astrid Pizarro and my Instagram and threads as Astrid Pizarro 20. If you haven't yet, you can purchase the wrestler's book that I contributed with Cameron Hawkins, aka Seahawk. I do have to put a link up on my bio later. But yeah, I was able to do a profile on Stephanie Vaquer and her 2025 in WWE. So really excited about that part of it being the first thing I do for wrestling this year, aside from taking over. But aside from that, if you're on the YouTube channel, make sure to hit the subscribe button and hit the bell to notify when I upload or go live. And not only that, hit the like button on my video and the OLE one too. And use the hype points. 3 days later, use your hype points.
Hype us up.
Yeah.
You can of course find me at all the places down here. That's fine. Whatever. It is my birthday coming up. Just forget it. Don't worry about it. You don't have to wish me happy birthday. It's fine. I'm old. I don't need it. It's been scrolling through the bottom all the time, but the Our Local Establishment YouTube is at Our Local Establishment. Our Twitch is the same at Our Local Establishment. You can find us on almost all social media platforms at Ole Podcast to find out all the good stuff that we've got coming up. Speaking of, if you were there on our social media pages today, you would have heard that the Mother Talking Post Show is coming back. Very excited to have Auntie Collins and Jose Gonzalez back again as we go ahead and have them chit-chatting all about the Mother Talking Post Show and RuPaul's Drag Race. I don't remember what season it is going to be upcoming, but they're going to be talking about all of that throughout the entire season. So please make sure you give them a watch as that comes up. Of course, we got Ring Respect Radio coming up this Thursday. I'll be probably doing a trip to the territories, I would imagine, or because I know they're not prepping for a PPW show because they're not back for PPW until February. So, yeah. Like I said, we'll be back next week talking about Limitless Wrestling. We got a couple other fun shows coming up in the near future. Ashley, you got anything else before we head on out of here?
No, I was checking Ring Respect. This says Big Time Wrestling and Roy Shire's Legacy. There you
go. Okay, so that is definitely a trip to the territories. We're talking about Roy Shire and his legacy because that is a name from the past. But for myself, for Astrid Pizarro, thank you for joining us. We'll see you next time. Goodbye. I am in misery.